Hello and welcome to the Elder Tree podcast. My name is Twiggy Dawn, founder of the Elder Tree and Alchemilla Herbals. You are listening to the Herbal Educators segment, where each new moon I will be inviting a series of guests to chat about the world of herbal education, about their passions and motivations, and their dreams for the future of herbal medicine in Australia. Today, I invite you to join me in an inspiring conversation with Francia from Hobart, Tasmania. Monica is a herbalist, she's a naturopath, she's a nutritionist, and a herbal educator who's really passionate about community herbalism. She works at the clinic in Goulds in Hobart, Tasmania for the last 6 years, and she founded the Hobart chapter of the Herbalists Without Borders, which collaboratively runs 3 clinics in Southern Tasmania. She coordinates the herbal growing side of the Rocky Top Collective Farm and is involved with the Radical Herbalists Australia. Monica works really hard to co-create more community resilience via her community herbalism work, which I find really deeply moving and inspiring. And she loves collaborating with other like-minded folk to work towards the greater good. In this interview, we explore her journey of becoming an intern at Goulds, which is a very unique opportunity in Australia, about her journey of working in their farm, their apothecary and clinic. We explore her motivations and inspirations behind the amazing work that she does. Monica shares her passion about teaching home herbalism and how she would really love to see people reclaim the word herbalist and the identity of being a herbalist and bring it back to just people working with the medicine, growing and harvesting and making their own medicine. Her message within that is that anyone can be a herbalist. And this message and where she's coming from is just so in alignment with my personal journey as well with Alchemilla Herbals, and and it's been a really wonderful experience for me getting to connect with Monica, and I really enjoyed this conversation with her. So yeah, listen, get yourself a little cup of herbal tea and kick back and enjoy this inspiring conversation. Hi, Monica. Thank you so much for coming onto my segment today. It's a real honor to have you on the show, and yeah, I'm excited to have a chat with you today. So welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I've been following your work for some time now and in full appreciation for all that you do with your personal endeavors and your community herbalism endeavors. And as you know, this segment is primarily focused around herbal education, but I really hope to get to go into some just exploring some of the projects and things that you're involved in down there in Hobart in Tasmania. So I just wanted to start off with I'd love to just hear a bit about your work at Goulds down in Hobart, and a bit about their apothecary and their farm to apothecary way of doing things, which is quite unique in Australia. So if you feel to share a bit about that, I'd love to hear about it.
Sure. Yeah. So I've been at Goulds for about 6 years now, just over. And I was drawn down there really for that apothecary to, farm to apothecary model. I spent a lot of time in my 20s working and volunteering in the food justice and food sovereignty area. And when I studied herbalism, I really saw the, I guess, lack of cognizance about sourcing herbs, and really wanted to translate that passion for local food and sustainable food systems into local medicine and local medicine systems as well. So I was lucky enough to get selected for the internship down at Goulds Natural Medicine, which involves 6 months of mentorship and training both at the farm, which includes growing, drying, processing, tincture making, all the kind of manufacturing happens out there. And so we got to spend a good amount of time really learning about that process and being with the plants and actually getting our hands in the dirt and meeting all the plants in real life, which was very exciting for me, having studied a uni course where it was very textbook based. But we also got a lot of mentorship in the clinic where I practice and in the apothecary. So apothecaries are a model of community herbalism that I feel really strongly about as well. Having a space where people can come in and talk to a naturopath or herbalist and be dispensed medication or just ask for simple advice. And there's really a non-business, I guess, mentality to the apothecary there, which I really value, where, you know, people can come in and just have a chat to someone. They don't have to buy anything. There is absolutely no pushing of supplements or anything. And so, yeah, I really valued that training as well in that over-the-counter kind of acute medicine setting as well.
Mm. Beautiful. Yeah, that's so unique, what you guys are doing down there, and I don't think there's anywhere else in Australia that that offer that have a clinic which makes most of its own medicines and grows and makes most of its own medicines, which is like a group clinic that has multiple
Yeah,
practitioners operating out of it. So that's very unique.
yeah, it's such a privilege. I feel so lucky to be able to dispense medicines that I know are grown with so much care, that I've had a part in growing and manufacturing the tinctures and drying the teas. And yeah, it's such a privilege to be able to dispense medicine that you have that real connection with. And yeah, that's why I was drawn down there to really be able to experience that. Mm.
Yeah, beautiful. So you did an internship down there. Again, that's something unique about Goulds is that internship that they or that residential live-in internship opportunity that they offer, particularly one that does have the focus on the farm and that whole process all through. That's really amazing opportunity. And then now, yeah, 6 years later, you're still there. You must be loving it.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing institution. It's very well
Mm.
loved by the community down here, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, I have Greg Whitten's book, the Herbal Harvest book, which I refer to time and time again, and often wish that there was a tropical version of that book. Even though a lot of the plants that are in there we can still grow up here, but there are a lot of the yeah. I'd love to see that book, but with the tropical plants. It's a great
Mm,
Bible, that one.
yeah.
Yeah, very fortunate to have him as a teacher. And so, yeah, like speaking of teachers as well, so obviously you'd done a uni qualification before you came to do your internship there. So what was that like? What could you share with us about your experience of being a student? I mean, of course, you'll always be a student. We're always students, but yeah, your experience leading up to becoming a practitioner as a student. What was that experience like for you? And who were your main influences as well and inspirations in the herbal world?
Yeah, so I had a mixed experience of uni. I love learning and I loved all the content. I loved learning about herbs, but kind of as I alluded to before, I was a little I really missed that hands-on, like I'm a hands-on learner. I love plants. I love having my hands in the soil. So I really missed through uni that connection. It felt a little bit removed. And yeah, I think there's a lot of problematic things about the university system in Australia for herbal medicine. I remember, um, yeah, just in our supervised clinic, just having all these leaflets going around, like educational material that was by supplement companies. And I just remember feeling this really dis-ease with that in terms of biased education and being encouraged to listen to supplement providers to be able to provide us information. And yeah, I studied in Melbourne, and it was in this, big corner building in the CBD with no windows and artificial light. And there was just some disconnect about us studying herbal medicine and never seeing plants and being in this really artificial space with all these like leaflets from supplement companies that I saw really no different as pharmaceutical companies sending out information and leaflets. Um, so yeah, but despite that, I had amazing teachers and some incredible mentors that are still mentors now. Um, I was a real nerd through school, and even though we didn't need to do external observations, I built relationships with some of my supervisors and teachers and was able to go out and observe them in their clinics and observe their consults. And then between consults, we'd have a cup of tea and they'd kind of go through the case with me and let me ask questions about it. And I think that really formed the way that I practice more than the uni degree. I mean, obviously it's so important in uni to learn all the pathophysiology and the actions of the herbs and all of that stuff. But in terms of actually learning how to practice on an interpersonal level and structure my consults and interact with patients and prescribe, I think that learning that I did with mentors in my third and fourth year really shaped me the most. So I was very lucky to have those people who were willing to just give me their time and be very generous with their knowledge.
Yeah, there's if only they could be a little bit more integrated, the opportunities like what's available in at Goulds, and then the educational opportunities that are available in the universities. It would be wonderful to see them a bit more integrated together, those kind of learning opportunities.
Yeah, that's why I love the vision of the elder tree. I love what you guys are doing, and it's so amazing. It's so important to have these opportunities to connect back into real things, real plants, real people, real soil.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty amazing in some ways. I feel like we're kind of reinventing the wheel because we're creating a model that seems quite different. But the only example I've been able to find in Australia that has a lot of similarities to the vision is Goulds. There's so much of that, like the internships that they offer, and a lot of their philosophies behind their practitioners being quite education based in their approach. Like I noticed that on the website for Gould saying, the original meaning of the word doctor, douceur, meaning to teach, and that being a strong focus there for their practitioners, which I think should be how it is. All practitioners should be educating their patients or their clients, and there's so much about the philosophies behind Goulds that they're really our only role model in Australia, or our only example of some certain elements of what we're wanting to create. So I look forward to coming down there and visiting you guys sometime.
Yeah,
And
sounds great.
so that was your experience with being a student in a nutshell. So what made you want to become a teacher beyond being a practitioner? Because you run workshops, medicine making workshops, different herbal medicine workshops. And so what motivated you and drove you to want to start offering that to your community?
Yeah, I guess as I mentioned, like before I got into herbs and naturopathy, I was really into the local food movement and sustainability and earth care. And um, I guess I've always seen herbal medicine as a form of community resilience. And I think it's so important for us as a community to have basic herbal knowledge. And I think it's important that there's specialized healers, naturopaths, other modalities that do university education and deal with those more I guess high level technical things, but I've always felt like there's so much that people can do for their health just at home with herbs, with nutrition, with basic kitchen pharmacy. Um, and yeah, I always felt like that was really important to share and to teach, because when I started studying naturopathy, it was like, why don't we all know this? Like the basics at least. This is something that everyone should know. And I feel as though historically, with traditional folk medicine and folklore, these were things that were passed down through generations. And, everyone in the village would have this basic knowledge, and, not to cure cancer or for complex chronic diseases, but for colds and flus, for headaches, for period pain, for all kinds of things that we just face on a day-to-day level. I really believe that all people should be empowered and entitled to that knowledge of being able to support their own health.
Yeah, beautiful. That just everything you just said so sums up exactly how I feel about all of that. And I really love what you say about herbal medicine being, building community resilience. And yeah, I really, really resonate with everything that you just shared there.
It's such a big time. I mean, with climate change and having just been through a pandemic, and I just think, that we really need to think about community resilience in terms of health and medicine, and these localized medicine systems and these networks that we can have of people with herbal knowledge, people who know how to grow or have the resources or capacity to grow medicine for our community. And it can just, stay within this network, this community, is one of the most powerful things we can do in terms of a resilient future.
Yeah, and us as within our communities having those skills as well takes a lot of the pressure off the hospital system. The modern kind of healthcare system. Like I recently found myself in quite a scary position with having pneumonia. I'd never had that before, and herbs have been very helpful in the recovery and were really helpful with moderating. But there was a point that got pretty scary, and I ended up in the emergency department, and they did not, in the local hospital, they didn't have one spare bed for me. They couldn't take care of me. I got sent home when I really shouldn't have been. I really needed monitoring because I wasn't really able to breathe. So yeah, so that was I'd never been in that situation before, needing a bed, like that in a hospital, and it was a bit of a eye opener in terms of that was like a midweek thing. There was no bed in the hospital, and it just got me thinking about who was taking up all the beds and how that could have been prevented. How many people were likely in there from things that they could have been treating themselves or preventing themselves as well. And so that was a real eye opener, and even more of a motivator to want to do that, to help my community become more resourced, more resilient like that, and more connected to the medicine growing around them. So but yeah, we have just pretty much tropical medicine at our fingertips, not like you down there with all your beautiful temperate climate herbs.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky down here, even though I would love to live in your climate and be warm all the time.
So in doing herbal education yourself, like in being a teacher, what have been, so we've uncovered a bit of your personal motivations, of your intentions of why you've wanted to do it, but what have been some like hidden gems or unexpected benefits for yourself and for your community in becoming like a herbal educator?
I just get so much out of teaching. I think I'm a bit of a natural teacher and sharer. I feel very fulfilled by teaching a group of people how to do something, especially something hands-on or like medicine making. It's so, you get so much out of it. But I think the biggest thing for me is we're really lucky down here in Lutruwita, Tasmania. We have a really strong herbal medicine network of lots of herbalists, from naturopaths to absolute beginners, home herbalists, whatever. And I think the most amazing thing for me is to see someone that I, taught how to tincture or how to make a salve 5 years ago at a medicine making workshop, to then see them again at a Herbalists Without Borders thing or at our herbal gathering, and to see them really grow into their own herbalist, and then to teach me things back, because they've gone away and experimented and learnt and tried something that I've never tried. And gotten their own feedback on like a certain blend or something, and then they get to share that knowledge back. And that reciprocal sharing of knowledge is just so incredible in terms of, feeling really supported and connected in community. And I know that, I'm not just out there teaching everyone else. And if I were to, not teach anymore, no one would know anything. It's like everyone is out there like being taught and teaching back and sharing back. And that kind of reciprocity is the biggest gem, because you just see this incredible community of herbalists who are growing and making and sharing. And that's pretty incredible.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love how community minded you are when it comes to herbalism. You mentioned before about the Herbalists Without Borders. And so I'm aware that you founded the Hobart chapter of Herbalists Without Borders, and they're an amazing international group doing really beautiful things in the international herbal community. And I'd love to hear a bit about your experience in founding that, and just anything you feel to share about your journey thus far.
Sure. Yeah. Herbalists Without Borders has been a huge part of who I am as a herbalist and as a teacher. Um, so we founded the Hobart chapter, I think about 5 years ago. And we started with just doing some workshops. We did plant foraging walks, some community health events. We have a community garden, so we'd have working bees at the garden and teach people about growing. But the big dream was always to create community clinics, because like a lot of naturopaths that I know and a lot of us down here who now volunteer with Herbalists Without Borders, we were very conscious of the barriers to access of natural medicine. If you don't know things yourself, to go and see a naturopath and pay a consult fee can be quite inhibitory. Like a lot of people can't afford that. So we really wanted to improve access to natural medicine down here. And so I went away on a trip to the States and did a bit of a research trip and did some work experience, and met a lot of incredible people over there who were running free clinics. So like Occupy Medical, there's one called the People's Medicine Clinic, the Ithaca Free Clinic, all these incredible institutions, community clinics in the States that I wasn't really seeing happen here, but I could see them over there. And so I wanted to go and learn from these people and see what they were doing and get advice. And a lot of the people I met during that trip are still mentors and in contact to this day. So I kind of got super inspired and learnt heaps while I was over there, and came back and we started these free clinics. So that's a big part of what we do now as Herbalists Without Borders. We now have 3 locations. So we have 3 clinics in different locations around Southern Tasmania. And one of them we've just started this year, which is in collaboration with the Southeast Tasmanian Aboriginal Corporation, which has been really exciting to collaborate with them. And the thing I love the most about the Herbalists Without Borders, I mean, it's incredible to be able to provide these free clinics, and people who can't afford to go see a naturopath will come to the clinics. They don't pay a consult fee. All the naturopaths are volunteers, so they come and have a consult for free, and then we dispense their prescription, their medicine for free as well. And the reason that we can do that is that over the years, we've created this network of volunteers and people who are in our broader community who grow medicine for us. People who just have like a small garden will just like grow and harvest and dry lemon balm for us, or some peppermint. So we have this network of growers. And then we run these making days. So what happens at the making days, which we do about once every, say, 6 weeks, is that we'll decide what kind of things we might want in the clinic, and we'll get a group of volunteers together and we'll make medicine. And that medicine will go to stock our dispensary for the free clinic. We have to do a little bit of fundraising for things like ethanol or buying olive oil or beeswax for salves, that kind of thing. But mostly we run on practically no budget because we have these growers that grow for us, and we grow some medicine at our community garden. And so at these making days, people come together and, people hear about it and then they just want to come along and learn. And so it's this beautiful model where there's education happening because we're all coming together, and there's people there who are very experienced medicine makers, there's people who have never done it in their life, and we all just work together to make tinctures and salves, infused oils, whatever we need for the clinic. And it's like people are coming to a workshop, but they don't need to pay for it. Their payment is their labor to help stock that free clinic. And then often people will come to a making day, and the last making day we had a new person come along and they were super keen and wanted to learn all about it. And then they were like, oh, I've got mugwort in my garden. Like, do you want some? I can harvest it and dry it for you. It's way too much for me. And this happens all the time. Or, calendula. Oh, I've got calendula in my garden. Or, I've got nettles. I could just harvest it and dry it for you. And so the network builds and people feel more connected and included. And it's just this beautiful win-win where we stock our clinic, we share knowledge, we build community, and then we're able to run these clinics where we can provide this service and this medicine to people who need it. It's a really beautiful, like, full circle.
That's incredibly inspirational. With that, good on you. I applaud you for the work you're doing with that, and for everyone else that's involved with it as well. That's really, really beneficial, meaningful thing to do. You must have a lot of purpose in your life, and it's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Yeah, it really does take a village. So I'm conscious of you, saying that I founded it. I mean, I kind of did, and I coordinate it, but there are so many people involved and so many volunteers. Like, we're so lucky down here to have so many ethically minded, like, beautiful people who are willing to volunteer their time and energy. So it's a real, takes a village to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you to all of those people.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful thing. I'd love to see that kind of model happening in like everywhere, in Australia. That would be amazing. So also you mentioned that so you're involved in the Goulds farm, and then running the community gardens with the Herbalists Without Borders group. But then you've also got another farm that you're responsible for, don't you? The Rocky Top farm. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, so I guess coming down and getting that experience at the Goulds farm and being involved out there with the growing, I just fell more and more in love with the growing and the plants side of things. I still practice as a naturopath, and I still, maybe half my week is, I guess, being like a clinical naturopath or in the apothecary at Goulds, or doing Herbalists Without Borders stuff. But my other half of the week now is a farm that I run with a friend of mine. We grow vegetables as well and do vegetable boxes. But my kind of passion as part of that is growing medicinal herbs, which has been an amazing journey. We're just about to finish up our second season. So it's been a huge learning curve for me, and I'm very lucky to have Greg Witten as a mentor and very supportive person for me to send my questions and give him a call and say, what's happening with this, Greg? And so at the farm, I grow medicinals, and part of that is drying them. So I have a drying room now, which we crowdfunded for. It's in an old shipping container.
Yeah, I've seen the photos of that on Facebook. I was just applauding you when you got that done. It's so good.
It was so beautiful. And once again, community support. My brother and friends came and helped build all of those shelves. And yes, very, very lucky to have people around to help. So we dry a bunch of herbs and sell them as teas, like tea blends, but also bulk herbs to local herbalists and business like skincare businesses and other businesses that use herbs in products. And then I do a herbal CSA or CSH, so community supported herbalism, where people get a seasonal box of the products that I make and some tea blends and stuff like that. So I do some tincturing and make salves and stuff, and people will get like a little box of herb products, and there's education in that as well. I feel like I can't help but have education in everything I do. But so yeah, people get a little booklet and they learn about the herbs that are in the products, and they always get some fresh herb and some dried herb with some options of how they might like to process it or make something out of it, so some recipes and stuff. So there's an element of education in that. And the other thing that we've trialed just this year is a pick your own. So we've got a group of herbalists that sign up for the year, and basically they are part of the farm, and they kind of, I guess, buy a little share in their in the herb garden, and so they can come out and harvest as they wish, and as they need. So they might think they want to make a chamomile tincture, so they'll come out one day and harvest a bunch of chamomile and take it home and dry it or fresh tincture it. And we have a day once a season where everyone comes out together and we do activities together. But yeah, the pick your own members are welcome to kind of come out and just harvest as they need and as they want. So yeah, that's an ever evolving project. I would love to get to the point where I'm growing and tincturing enough medicine to be dispensing to my patients the herbs that I'm growing. Hoping
Mm-hmm.
that will happen in the next few years, but it's a work in progress. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many moving parts. Even if all that you were doing was your work with Rocky Top Farm, there's just so many within that. You've got so many projects, and I love the pick your own thing there for the practitioners. That's a really beautiful thing to offer. I've never even heard of that before. So yeah, that's amazing, and I also really appreciate that you just can't help yourself but put education in everything, and that's the way it should be in my eyes. So I'm really. Yeah, I really admire that.
Yeah, the pick your own I nabbed from a herb farmer that I met when I was in the States, who is an
Mm-hmm.
ongoing mentor of mine, who is an amazing herb farmer. Um, and yeah, it's really just a way to enable people who can't grow all their own medicine, herbalists who can't grow all their own medicine, to really come out and connect. And I think that was a really important part for us, both with the vegetable side and the herb side of the farm, like people being able to come out and connect to place and connect to the plants and feel some kind of relationship with that place. And so we can all work to nurture it and protect it. And yeah, I think that's the most powerful medicine, medicinal plants that you have a connection with and that you have relationship with, and then you can then dispense to your patients. I feel like there's more power and magic in that than um, just getting like a supplement tablet off the shelf at the chemist. Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah, having that relationship, sometimes that can just be healing in itself, just being able to come out and the aromatherapy of smelling the chamomile and just the feeling of touching the calendula and feeling the resin and just being in physical contact and having the senses engaged with the medicine can just be healing so much just in itself.
Absolutely.
So my next question for you is, I really love this opportunity to, I suppose, kind of like manifest the future when I interview people on this show, and just ask people what, if you could picture your perfect world in Australia. You've been fortunate enough to go to America and get to see a lot of different examples of things that that haven't made their way yet to Australia, and there's a lot of beautiful things that go on around the world. And so with that in mind, or with your own personal dreaming, like, what what would you like to see more of in the world of herbal education in Australia? What opportunities would you like to see being made available? What kind of learning environments would you love to like be a part of or see happen in Australia?
Yeah, it's tricky. I feel like I try not to be too critical of our herbal education, tertiary education system in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's amazing that there's evidence-based research happening in Australia. And like I said before, there's so much information in my degree that um, is so valuable if you really want to be practicing as a clinical herbalist or a clinical naturopath. Um, but I think in as we try and be seen as validated um, by conventional medicine, or as we try to reach more people and be more accepted and maybe be less fringe, I just worry that herbal medicine is going to lose that connection to the ground, to our plants and our local environments. And there's this concept that I've been seeing pop up a lot more about bioregional medicine. Like, what are we using that is local, that is weeds, that, are we using a sustainable, future focused mindset in terms of what we're prescribing and using? And I think all of that is currently, well, I can only speak for my education, but in my education at uni was totally missing. We didn't talk about any of that. Um, and I think it's so important. And that connection with the plants. Like, plant medicine is about, to me, the relationship between humans and plants, that us as humans are in this ecosystem with plants, and the plants want to support us and we want to support the plants. But when you take our medicine out of that context, out of that ecosystem where we're coexisting with these plants, where we're in reciprocity with these plants, I don't even know what our medicine is anymore. I feel like we can't lose that, because then we lose so much. And so I would love to see university education for people who want to be clinical herbalists and naturopaths to encompass that, to encourage that, to be asking questions about herbal supply chain, to be asking questions about exploitation of workers in our in the herb trade, to be thinking about sustainability, be thinking about not using a herb from the other side of the world that's endangered. The classic example for me is the huge use of slippery elm still. Like, slippery elm is an incredibly
Mm.
endangered plant in the United States. And United Plant Savers is doing a lot of work to raise awareness around that, and they're getting there. But still, I see slippery elm supplements, people coming in asking for slippery elm. And I understand it's an incredible, powerful medicine. But in Tasmania, in this temperate climate, we can grow marshmallow root abundantly. It grows so well down here. And from my clinical experience, it works exactly the same as slippery elm. So why are we using this plant medicine from the other side of the world when we could use this local, abundant, regenerative plant medicine?
Mm.
And so this is what I want to see in the education space, asking these questions, having these conversations. And so we get clinical naturopaths and herbalists who are conscious of these things, who are connected to the earth and caring for our earth. So that's for clinical naturopaths and herbalists. But also I want to see more options. Like, not everyone needs to be a clinical herbalist or a naturopath. If that's not your path, that doesn't mean you should be excluded from herbal medicine altogether. There are so many ways to be a herbalist. And as I learn more, the more I practice, you can be a kitchen witch. Like, you can look after yourself and your family. You can just be a really avid gardener and love growing the medicine and making teas yourself. You can be a maker. You can be creative with your herbal practice and making elixirs and different blends of tinctures. And so what do we have in that space between, there's beautiful books out there and you can read a lot on the internet, but what is there between self-education and self-experimentation and like a 4-year uni degree? Like, we need something in the middle where people can learn, be safe about using herbal medicine, be effective as well, because I don't want people out there trying to use herbal medicine but not having the right education for then it not
Mm.
to work or, for it not to be effective. And so I think we need so much more education in the space of workshops and, that kind of intermediate level where people just love herbs and want to learn and want to be practical about it. And, sometimes I talk to people who just aren't uni people. They don't want to study. That's not their vibe. It's not the way their brain works to go to uni. But they love herbs and they love herbal medicine. So what do we have for I guess in terms of envisioning herbal education in Australia, I wish there was changes to the university model of naturopathy and herbal medicine, like all the things I've spoken about, but also I want more options for people so people can do things that suit their personalities, that suit their skill sets, that suit their time requirements. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you. There's so much in that. Really hearing you on all of that. And yeah, in uni we learned about what plants were endangered, but we didn't explore the alternatives, like you say, marshmallow root instead of slippery elm, because that is a really important one. I really appreciate that Christopher Smith, I'm not sure if you've met him or heard of his work down in Tasmania, but he's down in Canberra. But he's specialising in endangered herbs and having and growing them at a scale of having a vision of wanting to see Australia become more self-sufficient uh, with, uh, with supplying those herbs that we're otherwise getting from importing in from overseas, from places where the wild stands are being degraded. So but in the meantime, we definitely need to be looking at like alternatives. And yeah, I'm totally hearing you. I would love that in the schooling system in Australia, if that was more explored. Definitely. And that in between realm, in between just the self studying with books and uni, like that whole realm in between of the home herbalism and the kitchen witches and everything. And yeah, it's there's so much there. There's so much there. It's like you said earlier, if you went back in time far enough, it's like our ancestors all would have had a basic working knowledge of how to utilize just for basic complaints, day-to-day complaints. And I think we're dreaming up a future where more and more people are just going to become empowered. And and especially as well if we have more clinics popping up, the free clinics, like what you're doing down there, and having such a focus on education. That's going to be, all the seeds that you're spreading with all of that, all of the ripple on effect of all the beautiful projects that you're doing, going to spark and inspire so many people. I'm sure that this episode alone is going to have so many people with sparks flying and seeds flying everywhere from just hearing all of the beautiful things that you're involved in. So sometimes that's the best thing that we can do, is to just like inspire and share, possibilities, and share about what we are creating, and dream about the future. Because then sometimes you just have an idea and then someone else gets that torch and keeps going with it. And these conversations are important, I think, especially when
Yeah,
we've got the
exactly.
audience out there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes there can be a tendency to gatekeeping of knowledge and I worked so hard to be a naturopath, so I need to hold on to that, or get paid properly for it or whatever. And I just feel like the more that we can just spread, exactly like you're saying, just spread this far and wide, we're all, you know, there's never not going to be enough sick people. We all face, we all face health issues, every one of us,
Mm.
all the time. And so, yeah, we can take pressure off the conventional medicine system, which is very fractured and stressed, that is a perfect example. It's awful down here. There's so many stories of, just how strained that system is. And that's not a criticism. It's like you say, we've got to what we can do with herbal medicine and sharing of knowledge and community health is that we can take people out of that. We're so good at preventative health as herbalists. And if we can share that far and wide and other people can practice that, we're all just going to be a healthier and thriving community.
Hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, and what you're saying about people being quite hoarding their knowledge and hoarding their, as a and not sharing that freely, that's a real industry mindset. And so
Mm.
sometimes I think, that there's just a shift that a subtle shift of mindset from industry mindset into just like community mindset. And instead of it being a herbal industry, it's a herbal community, a herbal movement, So just some kind of reframing sometimes and getting outside of that industry or like competitive mindset and more into collaborative work, which
Yeah.
again, it's something that the current schooling model in Australia doesn't really foster, and that's something that I would love to see is teaching about collaboration and teaching people how even practitioners to collaborate with other practitioners to be able to run multimodality clinics or educator or schooling system or hospitals, collaboration between hospitals and naturopaths and herbalists and all the
Mm.
potential that there is out there for the meeting of worlds and the kind of different people's skills and knowledge coming together to create amazing things. I'd personally love to see that happening more in the schooling systems, more training around collaboration within the industry, within the community. Yeah.
For
So,
sure. That would be
mm,
amazing. And yeah, it's funny you were saying, like we were talking about the options and more diversity. It's like even people who go through uni, I feel like it's a like single direction path to being a clinical naturopath. And you talk about that person who I don't know of, but we'll have to look up. Looking at endangered species and being more self-reliant within Australia, growing, like having more naturopaths going into growing or going into community clinics or having apothecaries or not everyone has to be. Yeah, I felt like in my degree it was very much like a one-way path to like this is what you do when you finish. You set up clinic, you're out on your own. You got to hustle to get your clients and be nice and busy. And it's like, no, there's so much diversity and like beautiful options in what we can be as a herbal community. And
mm-hmm.
we need to start like broadening that and opening it up.
Yeah, yep, definitely. I recall I had quite good marks through uni, but there was one assignment that was it was a reflective assignment, and I got a fail for this assignment because basically this whole assignment was me complaining about that, just saying, look, this is so all kind of geared on a one lane, one way street, and there's so much more to this, and this one way that you're teaching is a really important and really valuable, but it's one option of being a
Mm.
practitioner, of being a herbalist, and there's so many other avenues and laneways that people can take, different paths. And it would be, it was just this whole reflective piece, which I stayed within the criteria. And I got a fail, and then I rebuked that and then got high marks for it because I think they just didn't really want to hear what I had to say. And really, I was complaining to the wrong person. I should really have been complaining much higher up, and I've done that a lot ever since then. But yeah, it's funny. They're funny that you mentioned that because that was basically, yeah, one of my biggest gripes in there was that, yeah, I feel like I'm just going on this one way street into a box with artificial lights and no windows to
Yeah.
dispense, just a particular, yeah, way. And there's so much more. There's so many other, yeah, doorways and avenues, and it'd be nice to they could have whole subjects on that, on community collaboration and yeah, and around being educating your patients and encouraging home herbalism and yeah, I kind of also secretly hope sometimes, because this segment I've had a lot of quite a lot, at least half of the people that I've interviewed have been university teachers for naturopathy and herbal medicine, and so my hope as well is that these episodes, certain ones when we're talking about these kind of topics, I really hope that they land on the ears of people that are within, like, that influence the decision making in those departments, and that they really hear this common thread that happens throughout pretty much all of my episodes, speaking with people like you. And yeah, I really hope that there can be some positive change within there, because it's not always just about creating a whole other system, a whole other, let's create something else. It's so much about, like, integration as well. It's like, oh, how can we weave in so all of those uni students are getting more embodied learning, are getting more connection to the plants, are getting given more doorways in the world of herbal medicine, so that they emerge with the limitless possibilities of where they could go, where they choose to go with it. So yeah, here's to hoping for that to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah. So my next thing that I would love to know about is anything you have coming up, like, or any of your current offerings, anything, well, like we've talked about, obviously, projects that you're working with, but just for our listeners, for people to be able to get more involved in what you're doing. Do you have any, like, upcoming workshops or classes? Do you have any online learning spaces, or do you have any projects or like meeting days or anything like that coming up that people could know about and come along to?
Yeah, so I guess I'll do a little shout out for our main fundraising um, thing for Herbalists Without Borders, which is called the People's Medicine Zine. So 2 times a year, we bring out a zine, so spring, summer, and autumn, winter, that is a collaboration between a bunch of different herbalists, naturopaths down here, and we all submit like recipes or herbal monographs or essays, photos, whatever, all about herbs, and we put it into a zine and get it printed, and then we send them out and ask for a donation for those. So if anyone would like to support us and support the work we're doing with Herbalists Without Borders, like I said, we don't run off a very large budget because mostly we grow stuff, but we do need to buy ethanol. We buy some vitamins and nutritional supplements, and little costs come up for the running of the clinic. So if you would like one of our People's Medicine zines, you can email us at hobart.hwb@gmail.com, or we're on the socials on Instagram and Facebook, Hobart Herbalists Without Borders. So yeah, I'll just do a little plug for that because that's that's our fundraiser.
Beautiful. I'll, in the show notes for this episode as well, I'll include those, and I'll share them onto our Facebook as well, so people can access the links on there.
Cool. I mentioned before with Rocky Top we do like the Herbal CSH, so the herb boxes, and if you're local, the pick your own, if you're interested in coming and picking your own medicine from the farm. In terms of workshops and courses, I'm actually working on a 6-month course at the moment that will be starting probably mid-year. I've done for probably 5 years, I've been running like day-long workshops or for like an afternoon or an evening. And I keep getting this feedback from people that, they do the beginner one or they do a day on tincture making and they're so excited and they're like, yeah, what's next? What do I do next? What do I learn now? So, decided to do with another naturopath, we're collaborating to do a 6-month course on all things bioregional and local herbal medicine. We'll be releasing that soon. I'm really excited about that. It's just going to be a bit of a pilot this year and we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to do a bit more of a deep dive after, having done a lot of the same and similar, like medicine making, day workshops, foraging stuff. I'm excited to kind of put it all together and also go a bit deeper into materia medica and a bit of pathophysiology and just basic health knowledge, to kind of just take it up to that next level a little bit. Yeah, so
Well, how
that's my
exciting. That's
next
beautiful.
big project. Yeah.
And that'll be in person or online?
In person to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just going to run a pilot this year of a small group in person, so it'll just be for local folk, and then we'll see what comes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. That's so
Mm.
exciting. Great. I'll definitely share all those links, and make sure you let us know once that is kicking off, and we'll share it to all of our listeners as well online.
Cool.
Beautiful. Well, I think that we're going to start wrapping up right about here. But before we do, is there anything else that we haven't covered? Is there anything that you'd like to tell our listeners, or any kind of parting wisdom, or anything you feel to share?
Nothing's coming to mind. I think the biggest thing for me, and why I teach workshops and all my feelings about herbal medicine, is I feel like people get self-conscious of like not being a herbalist because they haven't done a degree, or they're not a naturopath, or they don't know enough, or whatever. But what I'd really like to see people do is reclaim the word herbalist and the identity of being a herbalist, to take it back to that, folk meaning of people who just learn about, use, process herbs. And yeah, at my workshops, I always encourage people and say, you're all herbalists now. So welcome to the crew. And just go out there and use medicine and make stuff and keep learning. And it's I don't want people to feel like they can't do it because they're not something enough. I think anyone can be a herbalist, and it's our heritage and our lineage. From all different lineages, there's herbal practice and plant medicine. And so, I'd really like to see everyone reclaiming that. We can just become a really strong community of herbalists and people who love herbs.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. That's really beautiful sentiment and words of wisdom right there. Thank you so much for coming on here and for everything you've shared. I've just gotten so inspired from this interview, and wish that I had so much more time on my hands. I really just, to be able to do so many of the amazing things that you're doing with your community herbalism work and with your farm. And so maybe we can get you come up once we have the land for the elder tree, to come up and help to share some of your wisdom of your ways of with the community herbalism programs that you do. I think that you'd have a lot to share with people up here, and people would really love your work.
Yeah, I'd love that. And I'm watching in huge support, and it's amazing what you guys are envisioning up there. Can't wait to see it come to fruition in the next little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on here today, and I hope you have a most beautiful day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to the Herbal Education segment of the Elder Tree podcast. Stay tuned every new moon as I interview amazing and inspiring herbal educators from around Australia. To find out more about the Elder Tree, you can go to our website, which is theeldertree.org. And through our website, you can subscribe to our mailing list. You can also follow our journey on Instagram and on Facebook. Thank you again so much and have a most wonderful day.